What's up, Peace Giant fans? Um, just want to talk about the game today. Um, the Giants won. Um, a lot of people say we're a bad team, but the Raiders look worse. And they're deserving of the number one pick. Um, the Raiders are trash. They really look bad, and a quarterback ain't going to change their fortunes overnight, man. They really look bad. The Giants controlled the game from beginning to end. Um, it was a resounding victory. like it wasn't even close. And I'm not gonna talk too much about the Raiders. The Raiders have their own problems, just like we do. Um, but they're not a good football team. So that says a lot about the Giants too. Um, but I want to give the Giants credit. You know, they actually played a complete game. This was the first game. This was probably the first game that the Giants played where they won in all three phases: offensively, defensively, and special teams. I don't think they've. I mean, well, when you win three games on the season, so far they got one game left, but when you win three games so far into playing a 17 game season, um, you're looking for uh, how the team plays in all phases, and the Giants have played good offensively, but not good defensively. They've played good on offense, but special teams had their faults. They actually played well in all three phases. So they need props for that. Mike Kafka needs props for that. Bullen, the defensive coordinator, needs props. Um, I mean, they looked good, and that's how the Giants should look. You know, why it hasn't materialized into more wins, we could get into that. But they won a good game, man. And I see a lot of people up in arms, talking about we should have lost this game. Look, and I'm gonna say it like last year. People that play sports don't want to lose, brother. They don't want to lose. You don't play sports to lose, you know? And the Giants are a proud franchise. They're a good blue blood franchise in the NFL. And, they don't want to be labeled like that. The Raiders want to be labeled like that and sitting everybody down. That's their business. That's why it never works out for the Raiders. That's why they haven't won a Super Bowl in what, 40, 50 years? So, I mean, come on. They could keep trying to tank and, oh, we're going to get this number one pick. The last time you had the number one pick, you took Jamarcus Russell, brother. So, and we all know how that worked out. Anybody that knows football. So, let them do what they do. You know what I mean? Um, we got a tough game against Dallas next week at home. Dallas is rolling offensively. So that's going to be a challenge. I don't know if we're going to win that game. It wouldn't surprise me if we lost, but it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. But I want to get into the Giants. And like I stated, a lot of people were talking about them not losing and, playing to win and losing number one overall pick. Understand something. From what I understand, Francisco Mendoza is a redshirt freshman, redshirt junior. Okay. Dante Moore, he's been waffling whether he's gonna come out or not come out, not come out. What if there's a scenario? What if there's a scenario where neither one of them come out? What happens? What happens to the Raiders grand plan then? You know? What happens to it then? You know? So I mean, look, worst case scenario, um, we'll have a top 5 pick. Best case scenario, we'll have the number 2 pick. So what? So what? We won't have the number 1 overall pick. Oh my God. What are the Giants doing? I read one post. Somebody was talking about the Giants can't even lose right. Come on. And then y'all will be the same people that when they draft the play and it doesn't work out, they'll be like, look, see, they fucked up the draft pick. Come on. Like, get a grip. People play to win the game, and the Giants won the game. That's what they do. So now we can look forward to getting closer to the end of the season. I saw Cam Scatterbo standing on the sideline. They were talking about in another week or two, he's going to do some light jogging after that gruesome injury. Malik Neighbors has done a commercial with IHOP. He was on crutches and, I guess he had his surgery. The Giants are going to be all right, man. They're going to be all right, and, they just need a couple of pieces. They need to shore up the right side of that line. Marcus Bowe played excellent. Now, granted, Max Crosby wasn't in there, but Marcus Bowe played well. He got out, pulling, opening up holes for Tyrone Tracy. He didn't allow a sack. So Marcus Bowe is going to be, I think he's going to be your utility guy. What they wanted Josh Azudu to be. I think he can play. He's shown he can play guard. He's shown he can play either tackle position. So Marcus Bowe might be your flex guy. And he might in turn end up being your left guard. Maybe he might supplant Jon Runyan because Jon Runyan is scheduled to make a lot of money. And if the Giants want to rebuild that line, I could see them putting Marcus Bowe at left guard, having Andrew Thomas at left tackle, drafting a guy like Connor Lew from Auburn and let him battle it out with John Michael Schmitz, and the loser will be the backup. Austin Schlottman will be released, and then you solidify the right side of that line. Get a Vega Ione from Penn State, maybe an Isaiah Worrell from Oregon, and, now you have a young, athletic, powerful offensive line. So, the Giants have some things they need to do, but it's not, the cupboard isn't empty. And anybody that says it is empty, I'll challenge them on that because it's not true. Wide receiver, of course they're going to look at Jordan Tyson and see if he clears his medicals. And if he clears his medicals, Jordan Tyson's going to be the pick. I personally would take Carnell Tate, even though I don't like Ohio State, but I feel Carnell Tate is better from a durability concern. And if you're playing in the snow, you're playing in the wind, Carnell Tate does that playing in Ohio State. He's used to the elements. He's used to playing in the horseshoe. He's used to playing in the snow, the inclement weather. So that's the reason I would pick Carnell Tate, because that's not new to him, Or they might look at Denzel Boston from Washington. Another guy, big, tall receiver, who's used to playing in the elements. I like Jordan Tyson, but he's playing in Arizona State. we don't have that kind of weather in New York, So, um, but I know because one guy hit me up and he was talking about, yo, where's your mock draft? I know. I want to see where the Giants are sitting come the end of the season, where they're projected to pick, so that way it's etched in stone, and then I will do a mock. I've been doing mocks. I've been, working trades and things like that, working different scenarios. And I still have it where I ran one today actually before the Giant game. And I felt the Giants were going to win this game. So I had the Giants picking second. I had them swapping with the Raiders, picking second. And then I still had them trading with the Cleveland Browns, with the New York Jets, and the Los Angeles Rams. Now, a lot of y'all are sitting there saying, what? What the hell? Now, we did have to give up our first round pick and our second round pick, but we were able to get Cleveland's first round pick, the Jets' first round pick for this year, and the Rams' first round pick. So we had 4 first round picks. We were also able to get a second, and we were also able to get a third. I believe it was number 69 or something like that. And then I was able to parlay the late picks, like pick 105, 106, 110 into draft picks for next year. I believe I worked something out with the Houston Texans where I was able to get their two twos, a 3, their 2 4s. I was able to work something out with Pittsburgh where I was able to get a 3, 2 4s, 2 5s. So we're able to move around, man. And the Giants, if they're aggressive, they can work this draft, even though they don't have the number 1 pick, and they can get their picks back and still be aggressive. So, it's not all doom and gloom and, oh my God, what are we going to do? Because at the end of the day, you got to remember, there's no cap on the players that you can get. It's teams that want to trade with you. And we have something to trade, which is a top 10 pick. And we're still staying in the top 10, making those trades. Obviously, the Rams, right now, I think it would be the 11th pick or the 12th pick, because I think Miami and Kansas City have 10 and 11, the way I remembered it, if I remember correctly. But, we stayed in the top 15, the top 12. We were still able to get a good pick because I believe I took Jermon McCoy with the first pick in the first round. The second pick, I took Sonny Styles. The third pick, I took Vega Ione. And the fifth pick, I took Caden Proctor. The fourth pick, I took Caden Proctor. So you say, we were able to get a guard, a starting guard. Okay, we were able to get a starting corner, a starting linebacker, and a starting defensive tackle. And we had a second round pick and a third round pick. So the second round pick, I doubled down and I was able to get another corner. I was able to get Brandon Cisse. So that's another corner. And I believe pick 69, I think I took Austin, I don't know his last name, Severeld or something, the tackle from Ohio State. I'm going heavy with Ohio State players. Philly's going hard with Georgia players. So I got the Giants going hard with Ohio State players. I know I'm a Michigan dude, but I just had them doing it. But I mean, we was able to answer a lot of questions and fill a lot of holes. And a lot of people say, oh, well, the Giants, they did this, they did that. Remember, let's be honest. Coming off of injury, okay? This is Paulson Adebo's first real year coming off of that leg surgery. I expect Paulson Adebo to ball out next year. I really do, especially with a new coach. Next year, I think is going to be a solid year for Malik Neighbors, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a down year, because it normally takes a year when you come from a lower extremity injury. You know what I mean? It normally takes a year for a player to bounce back. Same with Cam Scatterbo. I think he's going to be solid, but it's not going to be, oh shit, Cam Scatterbo. You know what I mean? I think the key to the Giants is getting a number 2, so Wan'Dale could be in the slot. Malik is outside. The other guy is your outside guy. Wan'Dale's in the slot. Theo Johnson, hopefully he works on his hands. We trade Darius Slayton. We cut Jalen Hyatt. And I'm going to tell you, and it's not because I'm caught in the moment. I was talking to one of my partners and they was like, oh man, you're caught in the moment. You're caught in the moment. I'm not caught in the moment. Okay. From what I understand, the Giants are interested in Marcus Freeman. The question is does Marcus Freeman feel he's ready for the NFL? My opinion, watching college football, I think Marcus Freeman is going to stay at Notre Dame. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays at Notre Dame. Therefore, I think the Giants are going to go after Hafley. Remember, I said last week, Marcus Freeman would be my pick and then Jeff Hafley. If the Giants take Jeff Hafley, okay, let me ask you a question. Would you give up on Deonte Banks? Now, let's not forget, Jeff Hafley has spent years as a defensive back coach. Okay? This is a dude that made Xavier McKinney an all-pro the first year in his system. I don't know. I think that's a good question. And I know Deonte Banks has played like utter shit. I know he has, and I'm being honest. But with his physical tools, being 6'1.5", 6'2", 205 pounds, runs a 4.4, do you give up on Deonte Banks knowing that Jeff Hafley is your coach and he has experience with defensive backs? It's a good question. A good question. I think you hold on to Deonte Banks, fellas and females. I think you hold on to Deonte Banks and see what he does in this new system. If it doesn't work out, yeah, you get rid of him. But I don't think you lose anything by keeping him. I really don't. I don't think you lose anything. And if you do get something out of him, you're getting a very talented young player. And I think a defensive dude can light a spark in him, because the talent is there. The athleticism is there. It's the effort that's lacking. And, some people say you can't coach effort. Some people say you can. I think it depends on the person. And I think it depends on the person, the message that's being given to the person. So if Hafley comes in here, I don't know if you give up on Deonte Banks, man. I don't know. And let's not forget, everybody is talking about, the Giants are missing Malik Neighbors and they're missing Cam Scatterbo. And I'm going to tell you who the Giants are missing. The Giants are missing Micah McFadden, bro. And Micah McFadden may not be a household name. He may not be the all-world player, runs a 4.4 and has ideal size. But Micah McFadden is an excellent blitzing linebacker. Micah McFadden is a good tackler, which is something the Giants are missing, and he's a good young leader. The Giants are missing Micah McFadden, bro. Trust me when I tell you, they are missing him. And a lot of people ain't focusing on that. The first thing they talk about, the Giants don't have Cam Scatterboo. The Giants don't have Malik Neighbors. The Giants don't have Micah McFadden. Think about that. You know what I mean? And when you look at it, the Giants don't have Micah McFadden. They don't have Malik Neighbors, like we mentioned. They don't have Cam Scatterboo. Darius Slayton is the king of drops. Theo Johnson, as talented as he is, he looks like he's following in his footsteps. Hopefully he corrects that. But just think about next season. Just think about next season minus the draft picks, okay? Dexter Lawrence is going to be asking for a new deal. I personally say you give it to him. I don't think you make him the highest paid defensive tackle, but Dex has been here. He's shown leadership, and I think a new ear will motivate Dex. I think you re-sign Dexter Lawrence, okay? I know a lot of people, I'm a ruffle feathers with this one. I don't think you re-sign Jermaine Illuminor. A lot of people are like, oh my God, what are you doing? What? Jermaine Illuminor, what? I'm with youth movement, okay? And with this draft, I feel the Giants can answer getting a right tackle and getting a swing tackle as well in this draft if they play their cards right. I don't think you have to break the bank by re-signing a 30-year-old Jermaine Illuminor when you could get a younger, more athletic player. That's just me. I feel the Giants are going to get priced out for Jermaine Illuminor anyway. I also feel that's why I doubled down on corners, because I also feel the Giants are going to get outbid for Cordell Flott. I feel they're going to get outbid for him as well. I think they're going to go hard, really, for Wan'Dale Robinson, especially after the year he had. And I'm fine with that. But I think they're going to get outbid for both Flott and Illuminor. And I don't think they should overpay to keep Flott and Illuminor. Because you got to remember, you got to re-sign Dex. Okay? You got to re-sign Dex. The Giants cannot afford to trade Dexter Lawrence. Okay? Dexter Lawrence has seen this process through to the end. And you have to reward him for that. And like I said, you don't make him the highest paid nose tackle. You don't. Because he hasn't shown that. But I think you do re-sign him. I think Dexter still has some good years left in him, especially if he's motivated. And I think if you pay him, he knows there's a new coach coming in, a new scheme coming in. I think he'll be reinvigorated, and I think he'll be ready to play. Also, there's a lot of chatter going on about trading Kayvon Thibodeaux. We've talked about this ad nauseum. What are you going to trade Kayvon Thibodeaux for? You're going to trade Kayvon Thibodeaux and then you're going to draft the edge rusher to replace him? What fucking sense does that make? Is that stupid or is that stupid? Kayvon Thibodeaux is a good edge rusher. He's gotten better with his run defense. His pass rushing has gotten better. It may not show in numbers, but Kayvon Thibodeaux has developed since he's been here. Now, is Kayvon Thibodeaux going to make $20 million a season? No. And I don't think Kayvon Thibodeaux is going to ask for $20 million. But I think you could get Kayvon Thibodeaux on a reasonable contract, and you have a reasonable salary guy in your rotation. Why replace that? For what? A rookie? An undeveloped rookie? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. You don't trade a 25-year-old pass rusher, bro. You don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it. That's just me. Some people are talking about Tyler Nubin. I think Tyler Nubin is just gassed, bro. With the injuries the Giants have been facing, Dane Belton has been playing a lot of linebacker because Micah's been out. You know, Tyler Nubin is just gassed. Okay? Tyler Nubin is a solid player. He's smart. He's cerebral. He may not be the fastest, but he's a good young player. And I don't think you let go of Tyler Nubin either. I think you're set at strong safety with Tyler Nubin and Dane Belton. I think you could probably bring in a veteran free safety unless you want to keep Bo Braid in there to back up Javon Holland. I think the Giants need to double down on corner because, like I said, I think they're going to lose Cordell Flott. But you got Deonte Banks. And if you bring in Jeff Hafley, let him see what he could do with Deonte Banks, man. Let him see. You know? If you bring Caden Proctor in, can you imagine that defensive line, defensive interior with a rotation of Caden Proctor, Dexter Lawrence, and Darius Alexander? Come on. Come on. And then you talking about outside linebacker. Now, I think they need to make a decision on Golston because he's finally healthy. But do you keep Golston or do you keep Victor Ndike? One has to go, in my opinion. I personally feel you hold on to Victor Ndike. That's me. So you run Victor Ndike, backing up Kayvon Thibodeaux. You got Brian Burns, and then you got Abdul Carter backing him up. Your edge is set. Your defensive interior is set. If you could get Sonny Styles or CJ Allen, preferably Sonny Styles, your linebacker is set because you'll have one more year of Bobby Okereke, and then you move on. And then you got Sonny Styles in there. And Sonny Styles is going to be a beast, bro. That dude runs a 4.4 and he's what, 245 pounds? Come on, man. That's crazy. Crazy. The Giants are going to be a beast next year, bro. They're going to be a beast next year. And I really say this, and you could look at my past videos. I always said the Giants were 2 years away, 2 to 3 years away. And this would be year 2. Okay. From that statement. So I think the Giants is on course, man. And I think they're moving in the right direction. But they got to get this head coach right. And the head coach has to get the coaching staff right. Those are 2 big ifs. But if that can happen, look out, bro. Look out, because the Giants they'll be good quickly because they got talent. It's just not being coached properly. You know? Some people want to blame Brian Daboll. I was a Brian Daboll fan. So I saw what he did with Jackson Dart, what he was able to do when he had a quarterback that he trusted. I saw what he was able to do. So I'm not going to knock Brian Daboll. But like I said, it's going to be real key getting a coach in here that knows what he's doing and getting a coach that can get the proper coaching staff as well. It looks like the Giants have their kicker, Ben Saul. He's a rookie from Pittsburgh. He's used to kicking in bad weather. He's left-footed, but he's got a decent leg. So maybe they found their kicker. Maybe they don't have to go and get a guy like Dominic Zavada from Michigan, or Radich from Indiana. They need a punter because Jamie Gillen is horrible. He's trash. So I know they're looking at Thornsby, hopefully, or Dulce. Am I saying that right? Dulce or Dolke? I don't mean to cut up his name, but we need a punter. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. I'm really looking forward to this. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens next week. If we beat the Cowboys, if we lose to the Cowboys, what happens? If we lose to the Cowboys, we stay at 2. If we beat the Cowboys, I think we move down to 5 or 6. So, then it gets a little dicey, but we'll see what happens. But, big win today for all you Giant haters that are saying, oh, we lost the number 1 pick. Fuck y'all. We won. This was a good victory. It was good for morale. It was good for team spirit. It was good for Jackson Dart's development to win. You got to remember, these dudes was on like a 9-game losing streak. You know how miserable that feels? Come on, bro. Like, come on, man. Them dudes is happy right now. Them dudes is on cloud 9, bro. So let them have their moment, man. Let them have their moment. They've shown when they're healthy, they have shown they can rock with the big boys. They've shown they can rock with Philly. They've shown they can rock with Dallas. They've shown they can rock with the big boys when they're healthy. So let's pump the brakes a little bit before we sit there and start, oh, what are they doing? Stop. Let's just chill, pump the brakes a little bit, and let's just chill and see what happens. So on that note, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to see if the mock draft updated with the Giants winning today and being at number 2, so I can get a mock draft to y'all probably in 2 weeks after the new year, when we know everything, how it's going to be set. But I just wanted to say, everybody out there, be safe around this holiday season, running around to see different family and traveling. Be safe out there. Be safe with your loved ones, and keep an eye on everything, because there's a lot of sickos out there. All right. Peace. God bless. And I hope everybody's good. All right. Love y'all. Have a good one.